I'll give it a few minutes. Then I'm going to get into it. All right. Mm, 30 seconds in. Come on up, come on up, come on up. All right, let's get to it. All right. Been playing Call of Duty mobile for, God, since a few months now, since last year into this year. And I think it's been about 2 or 3 seasons. And so far, I think about 4 seasons in total that I've been playing. And each season I've accumulated legendary status and sometimes grandmaster status. Oh, I'm going too fast. Legendary status in multiplayer, and then grandmaster status in battle royal. Mainly because I don't like battle royal so much, so I don't really like care so much to get in there. I go as much up to, well, almost like last season. Almost went up to legendary status in all two. Only thing that just kept me from it was I hate battle royal. I digress. Let's see, what shall we get to on the bracket? Teamwork. Teamwork is probably the most underrated skill within Call of Duty Mobile, probably Call of Duty in general, the franchise as it is the ability to know how your team thinks, communicate well, whether, well, you have to communicate well verbally, but also just non verbally. Because once you get the maps, generally there aren't too many maps, and once you get like the feel for how each sort of mode, whether it's hardpoint or whether it's search and destroy, these maps flow a certain sort of way when it's a mode of gameplay. In primarily search and destroy, you do not want to go down that middle ground of wherever that map is. You always want to hit the sides. And if you do hit the middle, it's only because everybody else is on the sides. So you always want to hit the area, or go down the area, traverse down the area where you either see the enemy coming, you know the enemy's going to come down that direction because you've already calculated their point of just thinking through the map or thinking through the strategy. Because there's two strategies that players usually have, which is aggressive or passive. And it's always dependent sometimes on their skill level, or just dependent upon the way the flow of the game is going. If you have high competitors that are like what I like to call them, like slip and sliders. Slip and sliders are basically just like the big pros. They have a rifle, they slip and slide all over the damn map, and they one shot hit you from several meters away. It is what it is. Can't really get mad at it because it's pretty neat to see, especially when you're in the game and you're seeing someone do it to you. Pause. And but yeah, strategies, teamwork. If your team is operating in a succinct sort of way where everybody knows their mission, one person is guarding one territory, the other person is guarding the other territory, especially in search and destroy. You have 2 points of hit that has to be either destroyed or protected. Those 2 points can be guarded by two members of one squad. If you have a five group squad, then you have two people, 2 or 3 people guarding two spots at a time. Then you probably have the fifth person, who is probably the marksman, actually, or the person that's just working within the parameters of you call it parameters of the game mode. Just noticed that the air came on. Anyway, uh, yeah, man. And again, first strategy, teamwork. Second strategy, know your mode. Know how the flow of the mode operates. Especially, I am just in tune, and I played primarily just through Hardpoint. Hardpoint, and sometimes every other mode. A little bit of search and destroy. I know how that goes. It's just once you get a feel for, because the modes are really not that hard to like understand and sometimes even time. The thing I like about a hard point is that you hold a position or you snatch that position and you have a certain time sequence to hold that position until it circle or cycles to the next situation. And the cycling is time bound. The timing is always consistent. It's always a consistent time bound like timer you can hold to analyzing and knowing instantly, okay, I'm holding this for this amount of minutes or seconds until I switch over to the next position. And once you know what the next position is, you can just automatically like know just to move on to the next one. Sometimes I hold the position longer so that the other teammates can push on to the other hard point when it's about to be activated. And sometimes I just like run off to the other section because some person is already holding that position, or it's a set amount of points that are already added up. Because I'm always looking at the points. That's the thing with me is I'm looking at the points, I'm looking at the map, and I'm calculating how long it will be until we reach the hard point amount of points that we need to win the match, which is 150. Reaching that can be either fast or it can be either a grind, depending upon the mastery of the other team and how much they are pushing to capture the point, hold the point, and don't allow the other team to invade the point. Or because especially is a way if you're losing down on points within a hard point matches, just get into the section even though the other team is holding it, because then that then stops the clock, stops like the point clock from from counting how many counting on to adding on to their points. And that just like helps your team just gather its saves it on time, or adds up to you getting another chance of just getting the points needed. Now, I'm a stickler for just, for me, it's like I want to win the game. I know what my teammates are doing. I know whether or not they, after it's like a few seconds, you know whether who's skilled and who's not skilled, who's just trying to volley for all the points and not trying to watch for the clock. And sometimes I use that to my advantage. Actually, it's just because I want to win the game. Ultimately, I want to win the match. Sometimes that's like because it's a detriment because you gotta, if you want to get the extra point and wind up into the top three, then you've got to push for like eliminating people that eliminating the enemy from as, or hitting the enemy as much as you can before the game runs out as well, because you got to get into your own personal best points. And that's tricky. It's like it's two games that's almost 2 or 3 games that's running. It's like the actual opportunity to win the match, and it's the actual opportunity to win your personal best of the match. Those two scenarios in that is going. In search and destroy is the most, for me, it's the most chess like session in a match, is whether or not I can predict the movements of the other team, have the right weapon. It's always good to have that weapon that you are a master at, or that is the weapon you need for this particular sort of game mode. Because in general, what you would want to have for search and destroy is what everybody else kind of has sometimes, is just a rifle. A rifle and a melee weapon, not a pistol most times, because well, it depends. But most times is you want to just, because with search and destroy, you get hit once, you get killed once, you're out, and you have to sit out and watch your team bally through the match. And I am terrible at search and destroy at times, especially because it requires a lot of practice, and because, well, to get real good at it requires, if you can get real good at just having a rifle and operating with a melee weapon, then it's an easy sort of like situation almost, and then it just runs down to being about strategy and about predicting the movements of the other team and knowing where they are. And then again, it's like I like search and destroy for that aspect, because it is very much strategy. It's heavily on strategy and less on just rushing so much. Even though it's like the ability to rush with a rifle is like a work of art to me at times when I'm seeing it. And that's what I like about in general is the two aspects: is teamwork and strategy. Strategy and the dominance or mastery of your weapon. Once you have those two things just locked in, then everything is just cake. Everything is just, then begins the work of mastery of the art of this particular sort of like game. And that's it.